All right, say it, says Christian in the chat. All right, we'll go ahead and get started now while we're waiting for Dario to get in here. But welcome everybody to the what is this now? The fourth episode of L5R Lounge. We are here still in quarantine, but we are having a good time and playing some L5R. There's been some new cards that have been released on Jigoku, aka the Pack 2 cards. But more importantly, I wanted to go ahead and bring some people on to, specifically, I wanted to bring on a Lion player who wasn't myself to talk about their deck, and that person is Dario Perry, who recently won the Irish Cote. And Dario, how are you doing today?
Yeah, doing all right. It's all good. Nice being locked away, as I'm pretty much always locked away anyway, so it's no different for me in life.
Yeah, that's sort of what I've found so far is that my life has changed depressingly very little since all this has happened. So it's been a surreal experience, but at the same time, I'm enjoying a little bit of a downtime too.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty good.
yeah, and so today also for Dario's opponent, I decided to get someone else from Britain, where I didn't really know exactly who would be of appropriate caliber, and so they sent their worst player to come over here and play. That person is Darren Hazelden, the lovely Crane loyalist. Dare, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. I'm playing as loyal today as ever. But
Are you even still an L5R player?
I mean, I can play online. That's fine. I'm not giving FFG money for that. But yeah, no, I actually have sold my collection. So
That is upsetting to hear.
I play digitally, but yeah, that's a whole other thing. You don't need that on here.
That's fair.
The game's fun to play still, so keep supporting local scenes, I guess, online scenes. Everyone needs something to get through the current pandemic, so.
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, Jigoku has been pretty important. That I've seen probably more games online in the past week or so than I have in a very long time. So maybe, maybe this isolation was something that would be good for the game's online community for sure.
Yeah, it should be, because obviously there's a lot of chance to play a lot more wacky things. Obviously, you can do whatever you want on Jigoku anyway, but with people not leaving their homes, there's even more chance to test different things.
Yeah.
Which I'm not doing.
Yeah, of course not. No. But yes, but speaking of wacky things, let's go ahead and talk about the decks that we're going to be playing today, and we'll go ahead and start with Dario. So Dario, as I mentioned earlier, you did win the Dublin Cote. Granted, it was a little bit smaller than we probably wanted it to be, but it's still an accomplishment nonetheless. And you did it with a deck that was relatively similar to this one, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's about 5 cards different to this one, and that's 6 cards different to this one, and that's just because of the Pack 2 stuff added in. So this is essentially the same deck for Ireland updated for Pack 2.
Yeah, and so let's take a look at some of the changes that you have made. So Pack 2 offered you a few new cards, one in particular being this province here called Spectral Visitation, which I have to click on. It's an Earth province that says, reaction after this province is revealed. Discard the top 4 cards of your Dynasty deck, choose a character in your Dynasty discard pile, put that character into play. If it is in play at the end of the phase, put it on the bottom of your Dynasty deck.
Yeah, so obviously it's a no-brainer for what it does. You mill 4 cards and then bring back someone to gain honor. But the fact it stays in play for the whole phase rather than just the conflict means cards like which I run Common Cause and things like that are still useful for killing it to straighten someone. And it can remain for an attack if you've got ways to stand it as well.
Wait, is that for the whole phase?
Yeah, the whole phase.
Yeah, so unlike its Spirit Caller Brethren, it stays until the entire phase, not just the conflict.
Yep.
Enough line.
And yeah, a couple other cards that have been added since then. We have this Chronicler of Conquest. This is also a Pack 2 card, which reads, it's a 1-cost O2 body that says, action during a conflict in which this character is participating. If there is a battlefield in play, gain 1 honor.
Yeah, so I mean, for an honor deck, it's quite obvious what it does. It's just there to gain honor. But most Battlefield cards that have been printed recently, they are not generally very good. However, there are cards that are being run by everyone that are very good, like Favorable Ground, for example, which is a Battlefield. The vast majority of decks run Favorable Ground. That just needs to be there to gain you 1 honor for each chronicler.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that that card says as long as there's a battlefield, it doesn't have to be your battlefield. It's
Yep.
a battlefield. So.
Yep. So if your opponent's got a Favorable Ground, they've either got to use it up before you use the chronicler, which is essentially wasting an action in a battle, or accept that you're just gaining 1 honor.
All right, and let's talk a little bit about your splash too, because I know that most honor decks are not running Crab Splash. Why did you feel like Crab Splash is the way you wanted to go with this, as opposed to something like Crane or like Unicorn, where you get like spyglasses? What does Crab Splash offer for honor that other splashes don't?
Well, for honor itself, it doesn't technically offer anything other than Common Cause being able to kill an honor guy. The intent for the Crab Splash was I'm able to have a guy on the attack and on the defense. So initially, before Clan Wars came out, it was just free mounted does not fall. And the intent was defend a guy, keep them standing for mountain, so it could defend 2 conflicts and attack in 1, potentially. So
I guess
the idea,
that stops you losing unopposed honor anyway, right? So
yeah, that's the idea. And it's because of cards like Hall of Victory, which gain you an honor for winning any conflict for the whole turn. If you're able to keep a guy for 4 conflicts, 2 defenses and 2 attacks, that's 4 honor return potentially per haul. So that was the intent behind the Crab Splash. The Crane Splash, generally, the reason people go for the Crane Splash is because they want to cancel. And I know that's the reason that Cyberrock, another one of the Lion Honor players who's on Crane Splash currently, is doing essentially the same thing. Because the difference between this deck and other honor builds is there's no cancels in this deck. However, being able to keep a guy, to block the unopposed, to block conflicts, and to stop provinces being destroyed is the reason for the Crab Splash. It's just more stand. It now means there's 4 stands in the deck between Common Claws and his service, and Mountain, which essentially can keep 1 guy around for 3 conflicts.
Yeah, it's quite a few stands. There definitely have been a lot of stands that have entered the meta in the past couple of releases, and they're all pretty strong too.
Yeah, they are. Common Cause is... Everyone talks about In Service to My Lord with the current tower decks around, but I think Common Cause is actually the stronger of the stands, because it's very easy to just kill a bow guy and stand someone. Krabbits obviously have made a very good use out of just killing a guy, gaining a card and a fate, and then standing their important character for the next attack.
Yeah, I mean, the Steadfast Witch Hunter has definitely been a staple of Crab for a long time now, and it's for good reason, right? Standing people up is really good.
Stand has always been good, especially in a deck where you can't buy people as quickly. So this deck might have 1 character around for quite some time, so like a Motso or a Zentaro. If you can keep them in multiple conflicts for Crab, for Lion in this case, it's ideal.
Gotcha. All right, well let's switch gears over. Speaking of Crab, our Crane loyalist today is not in fact playing Crane, but he is instead playing Crab, as he did at Worlds. So Darren,
and I did a Birmingham Grand Championship.
Did you also there too?
Yeah.
This Crane loyalist has been on Crab for about a year.
Yeah, give or take a month or 2. Yeah, basically only Crab.
So I guess talk to us about that. Like, why did you decide to play Crab as opposed to why did you fly in the face of clan loyalty and decide to play Crab instead?
So originally it was because Birmingham last year was with all the weird delayed EU releases and stuff. We had the updated restricted list that hit Crane kind of hard, but the Crane pack hadn't even come out. So like they restricted Steward of Law and did some other stuff, but it was intended to be balanced with Crane pack. Crane pack wasn't out, so Crane was basically garbage. Like Eric still managed to make the finals of that event, but Eric's Eric. So I just swapped to Crab because it was the easiest deck to play at the time. It was still doing the Spyglass, Watch Commander, Mountain Does Not Fall. Ha 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 ha. This is No Brain Deck. And No Brain Deck got me undefeated through to the top 8 of that event. And then I lost to my own ridiculous play mistake of missing 2 different saves to save my Tower of Auto Win. So I lost rather than the deck. I think the deck would have still kept going, but yeah. So then I just sort of stuck with Crab. I just kind of liked the way the deck played, and I didn't really prep for Worlds very well anyway. So I just sort of hung out with Crab. And then Kravitz is quite a fun deck. So more recently, I took Kravitz to Birmingham GC because I decided instead of worrying about clan loyalty, I just wanted to take the best deck that I would be good at playing. And Kravitz, like I could take Tower, but Kravitz was way more fun because there's like a lot more triggers to do, a lot more sequencing, so it felt like higher skill ceiling, which I quite like. So
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that this is definitely one of the most fun decks that I've played so far in this current environment. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the I guess the options that you have in here. We had Mosey on a couple weeks ago, but he was not playing Kravitz. He was playing a different deck. So this is our first time actually getting a solid look at Kravitz. So new stuff that you have added here. You have City of the Rich Frog in your row. How has that been working out for you so far?
So Birmingham GC was pre this cycle, so City of the Rich Frog didn't exist. I've only actually played about sort of 5 or 6 games with the deck since the cycle hit. City of the Rich Frog, I think, it replaced Defend the Wall. The deck just wants to dump a bunch of guys in play. Like City of the Rich Frog is perfect for that. The deck just wants to see more Dynasty cards. That's what it does, really. Like, of all the decks City of the Rich Frog goes in, which I know people will argue with me, but I think is every deck. I think this is like one of the most abusable uses of it. If you're those who serving with a bunch of one costs, then you're just dumping people into play for free every turn.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, even in decks where you're not looking for that kind of swarmy strategy, it's still very useful to have to see more dynasty flops. I think that's a really understated aspect of the game.
Yeah, the like City plus Rallier, like I really like the looks of them in this cycle, just because like there's been loads of card draw for ages. Conflict decks have been super consistent for ages now because there's so much ways of drawing cards. You can just draw 5 a turn before you add anything else. And Dynasty decks have always been the limiting, like how much you actually see. Whereas with City and then with Rally and stuff, you're getting to see a lot more of your Dynasty deck, which I think just makes the game more fun.
Yeah, and so talking about the dynasty over here, we got some some stuff that we don't normally see. I guess this is newer stuff. So one of the Forgotten is one of the new characters that came out in Clan War. This thing is a house. It's 4 military on a 2-cost body.
Yeah, he's super good. I find I almost never get his reaction, and if I do get his reaction, there's a good chance I might forget that it's there. But he's been amazing, and you're running saves in the deck anyway, so it doesn't matter if you don't get his reaction. You can still Vanguard Warrior him or Iron Mines or whatever. So
yeah, and the little RPG guy Hidasugi is in here as well.
yeah, so I didn't run him at Birmingham, and I lost in the top cut to basically a Kravitz mirror. We had about 3 cards different. One of them was Sugi, and I lost to his Sugi because he managed to put 2 Kuni Labs and a Keeper Initiate on the bottom of my deck before his Sugi died, which is pretty annoying. And I say, like, he's just generally pretty good. He's pretty good against a bird deck if you can fire him off before they thing and stuff. And he's a 1-cost 2/0, so he still fits in with the deck really well. He just really annoyed me, so I chucked one in.
Fair enough. You gotta if you can't beat him, join him, kind of thing.
Yeah. The actual fun I've had with this since pack 1 is mainly with recalled defenses, because you can put one of your holdings over onto your stronghold, which is, everyone knows that's what the use of it is. That's kind of fun, right? But when your holding is on your stronghold, it means you can start unyielding sensei to put characters on your stronghold to save for later. But then you can also rebuild the characters off the stronghold to put extra holdings over on your stronghold. So I've had a game where I had 3 holdings on my stronghold when I'd only seen 1 recalled defenses. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's it's a really cool mechanic. I think I like it. It's very crab, and I'm glad that they have a card that's sort of like this. I guess it remains to be seen exactly how strong it is, but the fact that alone that it has rally, I think, is definitely makes it worth considering at least right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
for sure.
looking over at your conflict deck real quick, everything looks pretty standard except for this one little card right here. I don't know if you put this in or not for Dario, but I'll keep it secret for right now in case he's not looking at it. But
He knows I was running that in Birmingham, and
Okay.
it also doesn't do a huge amount to his deck.
That's fair.
I didn't want to tweak my deck specifically for facing Dario, so I didn't, because I could have. But basically, it's Keeper of Air for Frostbitten Crossing, because towers are a big thing, right? So Frostbitten Crossing just sits on the stronghold. It's not a big deal. Dario knows my deck pretty well, like minus the pack one changes, I think.
We've played a lot.
Yeah, the Prez to Abisu mostly just saves me from Dishonor sometimes. It's not a great card, but it's okay. Like it's won me games. It won me one game in Birmingham, which I think means it's worth existing. So
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in this current meta, obviously with Scorpion, that's sort of the main, most prevalent threat. But then, if there are going to be some honor decks running around now, this, I would say gauge your meta, but it's definitely a card that's worth considering and something that you can run as a 1x tech card.
yeah, a lot of the time it just gets cancelled in both the Dishonor and the Honor matchup. But if you can fire it, like you need to try and craft so you can fire it in a conflict with Defend Your Honor ready, or you fire it just after all of Scorpion's courtiers died in the Fate phase, but before they bought any more. That sort of thing is that's its main use.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything in his box standard, pretty much.
Yeah,
BC does double duty at BC because obviously with your own honor losses coming from things like Cootie Labs and easily your own characters dying, it's very easy to start dropping down in honor as a crab player. So a BC can give you that little bit of leeway as well in some games, with even more Dishonor decks coming around because obviously Phoenix Dishonor is now a big thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a shout out in the chat to you guys from Daniel K, one of your expats. Over
I
Mr.
love
Action
Daniel.
Johnny.
I love you, Dan.
All right.
There.
So, all right. So we talked about both deck lists now. So let's go ahead and get into the game.
Cool.
You guys can start whenever.
I should do that, right? Lovely. Yeah. So we tested against each other quite a lot pre-Birmingham. We play each other quite a lot anyway, but we test against each other quite a lot pre-Birmingham, and I think the matchup was about 50-50 at that point. So I don't know what it looks like now.
All right. Well, I guess we're about to find out. Talk to me a little bit about y'all's local scene, because I know that obviously London has a good chunk of players, but how close to everybody is your scene in general? Do people have to travel a lot, or is it like little different pockets of players?
It mostly so Dario's a little bit outside London, which is that's not a bad start. I hate you, Dario. Dario's a bit outside London, but it's not a like otherwise a lot of London players are actually from within London. It's a major city, so like you're gonna be traveling quite a bit. God damn it. Regardless. Sorry, I'm trying to play and think. But the actual scene's pretty good. I think there's like a core of maybe 10 to 12 consistent players and like 30-ish people that could show up on any given day.
Okay,
So it's
that's
not awful.
That's a pretty sizable chunk of people for sure.
I should not have played Those Who Serve when he had that event set on his row. I'm not used to this meta yet. That was rubbish.
That's also the first time I've ever used Seasons of War in this deck as an action.
Well, I'll whiff on my stronghold. So I've already seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've already seen 6 of my holdings, and 5 of them are in my discard. So I'm not sure how well this game's going to go.
Yeah, fortunately, I guess for you, you do have this this Kuni Lab already ready and waiting. And there's the recall defenses, nice.
Yes. I can't remember whether Darren bids 1 or 3 turn 1. I spot Prodigy as well. The good thing with Krabbits in this matchup though is the crab character. There's a lot of like card draw and resource gain and stuff, so you can afford to have lower bids against honor decks without ruining your life.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Caillou Envoy obviously really important to that. You know, spend a fate to print some money and buy or draw a card sometimes too.
Yeah, Envoy is probably one of the best characters for Crab at the moment. Just not because it's an amazing static body. It's happy to do its pokes, but it's just a really strong card.
I feel quite bad for any of your viewers because I think was it last week which had or the week before which had Dan versus Fleeper, which was a lovely bid 1 game, and I think you're just going to see some bid 1 games going on again this time. So.
Look, I mean, I definitely think there's a non-zero number of bid 1 decks in the meta now, and you know, for a while it was sort of the meme, right, where bidding 1 is sort of a bad thing. But I think with some of the supplemental tools that have been released in recent sets, it's been easier to bid 1 and still just kind of float your way through the game. Actually, well, Dario, go ahead and talk to us about your bidding patterns. What controls whether you bid 3, 5, 1.
Well, generally I will base it on the game. I will never bid more than 3 turn 1. 3 is the maximum I'll ever bid, because if my opponent's bidding 5 to 3, then that's fine with me. I'm going to get a few less cards, but a lot of the line cards save you've got less cards in hand anyway, so that's not an issue. And obviously cards like the Art of War that's just been hit can just draw me cards for nothing.
Yeah, this is true.
So generally I'll bid 1 to 3. Lately I've found it that I've essentially had to bid 1 more often than not because it's what I wanted to do, but because the vast majority of players are just bidding 1 or 2 against me now. So it's kind of just become I have to do it to get the cards, to get the honor situation. So normally it would be 1 or 3. When I was running Tactician's Apprentice, I would consider doing 2, but I don't need to more often than not.
And Tactician's Apprentice, I assume, got nixed for the new card, right?
For Chronicler, yeah.
Yeah, I think I know pre this cycle, I think you were bidding 3 a lot because it's sort of safe to bid 3 against you, but you got a lot more honor gain going on now. It's quite scary.
It can very quickly.
Do I want to discard Taturi? No, I do not.
Why not?
Because I know what your deck has in it. I know you've got 4 bears, and I know you've got that other stupid flippy province. So. Yeah. I really wish I hadn't wasted those who serve, though.
I will say, one cool thing about that new province is that it's not just the 4 cards you mill; it's anything that's in your discard pile from that given point. And I definitely want to play around with it more. I haven't gotten a chance to really dive into Pack 2 yet, but
there you go, Darren.
I got to use my One of the Forgotten.
I've made his day already.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there still isn't. I'm genuinely not in that good a position still. I got very low cards in hand.
Yeah, so for what has been a 1-to-1 bid, he's now down at 3 cards, and I'm up at 8.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Man, is One of the Forgotten the secret tech to beating Fleepa's little pass deck?
I mean, it would be great. Like once you get 1 or 2 of them out, he's just gonna give you fate every single turn, right? Mhm.
All right, so Dario, one of the things that I think that your deck seems to do particularly well is that I think a lot of honor decks are very focused on the actual honor portion, and they don't have really a way to play the game after they've been thwarted on their honor game part. So one thing that your deck does do is I think it handles combat pretty well. And so, do you think that that's the case?
It's not going to in this game currently because the carrots I've seen are very small and puny.
Yes.
But generally, yeah, that's the idea of this deck is to fight a bit more. But in this game, it doesn't seem to be happening as much.
I mean, it's only turn 1.
Yep.
Sure, I'll take the free break.
The two provinces that have gone so far are the 2 on break ones, so it's not the worst situation for me.
Where the lion? Yes, getting the early Cooney Lab is good, but it does put me under a bit of my own pressure because I can't really risk to lose much in the way of unopposed this game.
That's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Dan in the chat was saying you need about another 15 holdings in your discard, Darren.
Yeah, it's not the start I would have wanted, but it gives me good rebuild targets if I'm allowed to draw rebuilds later. How many funeral pyres am I running actually?
2, last I checked. I don't know if you've changed it since I last saw your list, but you are on 2, and there's 2 in the discard pile.
There are 2 in my discard pile. I also don't have a sack outlet for the Gallant Quartermaster this turn, which is annoying.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate. But the Envoy, however, will give you resources regardless of sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah. Just why it's such a strong card.
Let's get more cards back in the sea. I also haven't, I feel like this deck, especially if Seasonal War starts firing at me, like, I'm going to lose my Dynasty deck very, very quickly.
This is true. You're already down to 17 cards.
Yeah.
Alright, there's another Prodigy. The All-Star.
Prodigy is just a lovely 2-coster.
Unconditional Honor Gain is horrible and shouldn't be allowed. That's
You mean 3 of the 4 cards I have in play?
Let's start putting characters over on my stronghold, shall we?
Yeah, so for those watching, one of the benefits of Recalled Defenses is that now it enables this little nonsense over here where you can start stacking characters with the Unyielding Sensei over on your your actual stronghold. I guess you can do it with Recalled Defenses too, but Unyielding Sensei definitely amplifies that, and so it makes them kind of untouchable, intangible a little bit.
Except for Season of War.
Except for Season of War, yes. So it could have potentially been quite oppressive, but thankfully the FFG has printed the answer within the same set.
Yeah. I mean, when his Seasonal War flips, like my everyone hiding at home is gonna be useless. But that's not the end of the world. What's that? I can't hover over that for some reason.
It is
Prepared
also
ambush.
not hoverable, but that's the battlefield that allows you to buy characters from your provinces at that conflict into the conflict.
At that specific place,
At
so
that
you're just
specific
hiding it on the stronghold, so
Yeah.
he has a battlefield, I guess.
Yes.
All right.
So
Cool.
one thing that that people have sort of said about this card is that it's like a better version of Hidden Moon Dojo I've even seen, and that's just entirely not true, right? I think that this card is, it's a neat little card. Definitely gives you some flexibility in terms of conflicts, but um, I feel
I
like
mean, it's very much not better than Hidden Moon Dojo. 'Cause
absolutely not.
it dies to attachment control, which isn't a reason to not run it, but it makes it worse in HMD, and it's only at one province, so you can't just risk passing first like you can with HMD, because if you
If you
pass
could,
first,
if you could let go Hidden Moon Dojo would have been a lot less powerful. You can let go of
yes.
this easily.
I hate defending these stupid conflicts.
Then don't defend them. You're the one choosing to defend.
Yeah, so there is always that threat of that Taturi in the discard. Ordinarily in these circumstances with Taturi on the province, you would think that with charge gone, you don't need it. You don't need to worry about him anymore. But Forbear's Echoes is quite a powerful card. Dan in chat saying, "Don't listen to him, Darren. Defend hard."
I mean, I tend to like the air ring's pretty important to stop him taking for free. Like, I know he runs Kami Unleashed and stupid stuff like that.
Yes, here in fact is the Kami Unleashed.
Oh yeah, hello.
The question is, will you deal with it, or will you choose to wait?
He can always play another one if I just blanket with Student of Anatomies. He's still got 4 Fate. Pretty sure he runs 3 Kami. So, like, I could save my student for the Hero of 3 trees, but I'd rather stop 2 on it than 1, I think.
Yeah. So one of the big issues with these lower bid decks is that yes, they may have these additional options in their deck, but because of the fact that they're seeing less cards per turn, it's sort of when you're playing against them, sometimes you have to take the chance and just see if.
Yeah, I think I'm actually like, he's on 17 now, having resolved it, but I'm happy trying to. Maybe I should have sacked my Keeper Initiate because I can get it back if I win the ring. So I think the smart thing here is to actually use it regardless. Yeah, so now I get a Fate and I get that Keeper Initiate that I sacked back as well. But I get my Unyielding Sensei Bowed, I think.
Yeah.
But I think overall that's a pretty good winning conflict, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you do get the Fate, you do get the extra Keeper. The Keeper was sort of lost at no cost, but the question, I guess, is whether or not, and I guess we'll discuss it later, is if blanking the 3 trees was correct, or blanking the
Kami
the
Unleashed.
Kami, yeah.
Yeah,
So if you lose to Honor, then it is definitely the Kami.
Yeah, I think having realized I was going to sack my Keeper Initiate in the conflict anyway, I was probably better just blanking the Kami, but you live and learn. And I know he's down to 4 cards, and his deck is okay at fighting, but when he's got no cards, like, it's a lot easier, I think, to make judgment calls on what's in the game. There's already a Taturi in the discard, which means I don't really mind hitting this. Because he's got 4 bears and that other stupid province, if he didn't have a Taturi already in the discard, then I think attacking this Taturi would be the wrong decision, but in this case I might as well. Taturi can be used on defense now.
All right, so we have Kensen Nogaka showing up here. This is a nice little honor province. Just gaining honor for losing the conflict. I think that's pretty sweet. Or gaining honor tokens at least.
Yeah, gaining honor tokens is gaining honor, though, basically. Defender with everything. So let's take a risk here. What's 5 province strength?
Yes, it is a beefy place. I guess it is technically a castle. I don't know the lore behind it. I don't know if it even existed previously in the old game, but the flavor text says it stands as a testament to the limits of Scorpion ambition.
Got to throw some shade at Scorpion, right?
Of course, any opportunity you have to throw shade at Scorpion, I think you take it.
I don't think I can afford to lose it. I probably can afford to lose this extra honor. If I lose this, I go to 6, and then at the next turn I go to 5 with that funeral pyre. But sorry, with the Cooney Labs. 4. I think I do both band sides.
Yeah, so Dario, one of the things that I noticed, not that deck labels on Bushi Builder really mean anything, but I did notice that you named your deck, or you labeled your deck for Honor Drain too. Do you often find that you are winning by Dishonor, or?
Yeah. Over the Irish Kotai, I won by all 3 win conditions. Sorry, Enlightenment. But yeah, I won with Honor, Dishonor, and Military over the course of the tournament. Because decks, sometimes they'll get so focused on how high my honor is, they'll not always notice how low theirs gets. And it's very easy to swap over to dishonoring someone else, especially if they've given you honor in a draw phase. Or just let unopposed conflicts go so they can attack back.
Yeah, that was actually one thing I did notice, back in the halcyon days of Core and Imperial, was that there were often times where you could actually kind of sneak in a Dishonor win because of cards like the Terry, right, where like you can just hit them with a double air ring and just rack up some random unopposed conflicts over the course of time.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
Yeah, Ardent Amodasu helps a lot as well. Like you already don't want to dishonor the guys when he's out because of the honor pressure, but that Amodasu just offers dual pressure that sort of stops you doing what I'm doing here, which is dishonoring one of his guys.
Yeah, something was probably missed in the lead up to that was Mountain Does Not Fall being played on the Hero of the Three Trees, which is why he's still standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I thought my one of the Forgotten was going to get his extra fate this turn.
Well, he wouldn't have done because everyone would have been bowed.
Oh right, yeah, that's how he works. I know how my own cards work.
Do you?
Shut up. I have to oppose because otherwise I die.
Yeah, Chad is pointing out that you will get the extra honor from the keeper leaving this turn too. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which is decent enough.
Yeah, it's a nice little benefit as well. So I mean, all in all, despite the fact that you are sort of hobbling on honor a little bit, and Dario is going to be at 18 honor, I guess, going into the next turn, you are still in a position where I guess you're about to be on his stronghold, so that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, like I know I'm on a clock with this matchup, so it's you just gotta push the wins where you can without letting the game sort of get away. if there's any turn where I basically stall and can't do anything in a turn, I think at that point I just lose straight off. Do I want to attack into there just now? I don't think I do, because if I attack your stronghold now, so I could play a guy from hand and run at the stronghold, but that lets you buy your Amoadasu into play.
This is true, but it would go into the conflict. So both things.
It
actually,
would,
yeah.
but you could buy it and add fate on it, and then it's around. Whereas if I do nothing, that Amoadasu at least disappears this turn into the discard.
Yeah, the other thing maybe to consider also is the since that province only triggers on reveal, that would be the end of that. And I guess you would sort of burn it for this turn as opposed to.
I think the spectral visitation.
Yeah, it's on reveal. Not
let
on
me
attack.
read it. It just puts it. That could be a stronghold province. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not convinced. Maybe attacking now is the right choice, because if that's where that province is, then at least it gets it out of the way. I don't care about the Amoadasu that much, so let's do that. Doesn't leave me with much fate to play with, but it's not the end of the world. Such a stupid card as well. No, I don't think I do want to give you an honor.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't really have much choice in the matter.
Alright, it is in fact a spectral visitation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think doing it now, so whatever he buys, if he'd have saved the call to war, that guy has to be in the conflict, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd have saved the call to war, you could have dumped it on the Gaia reveal.
No, because it still goes away at the end of the phase. Not
Yeah, it still goes away.
Oh, right, yeah, cool.
So he could have, yes. I don't know how good of a decision it would have been, but he could in fact have done that.
Yeah, not having a good Shrewd Yasuki buy this game has hurt my hand quite considerably. You can just win this conflict, I don't care.
Do I want to throw that away now? Is it worth it? No, just let it happen.
Just let it happen. That's my motto. Or my instructions.
Chat is saying, I would have considered giving an honor to put a fate on one of the Forgotten, because that's 5 mil for the Stronghold. That is true, yeah. Although I think
it is. It's not an awful idea. I have another Kuni Labs floating in my deck, so the Kuni Labs in my provinces means I'm on 6. If I flip another one, I'm on 5. It starts to get a little dicey. Like and Dario would be on 19. It'd probably be okay, but I'd like to. The same way when I play against Dishonor, I tend to try and play really safe. So against Dishonor, I try and lose as little honor as possible the entire game. Like I'll oppose everything at however much it slows me down. I think against Honor, it's a similar thing. You've just got to stop anything you can realistically stop.
Yeah, and there is the Season of War coming out.
Oh.
But yes, but just One thing to point out to chat too is that yes, the military does matter, but at the same time, you also probably don't want to be attacking this deck on military if you're trying to break the stronghold, right? If you had a choice, I think the choice is definitely you would want to break on political too. So it's not the end of the world to lose out on that.
Which, when you look at my current stats in play, makes it more interesting because I'm currently very heavily statted on the political.
Yeah,
That's true, but you're on Forebears Echoes, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I think any opportunity to not have Forebears Echoes enter play, I think is a pretty good one to consider. So the shrewd Yaskis right now are definitely coming in the clutch.
yeah. The problem is, if he uses Season of War, I think I'm basically out of holdings anyway, so don't know if I'm better off instead by... I'm really better off doing anything. Yep. Oh, I got a bunch of holdings.
All right, holding time. It's a Funeral Pyre and Iron Mine, so card draw is available for you now, and money.
I am I am almost out of Dynasty deck, and I didn't use Kaiden Hida last turn either. By that guy.
Yeah, this is a nice fat little Heater Guardian too.
Use the Funeral Pyre now on that guy, because I want Fate. I'm player 1, so...
You are in fact player 1.
I think I have to just try and kill him straight up. I think that's my line of play right now. So I think we go with the Heater Guardian with nothing. My Dynasty's empty, so I don't really want to buy anyone else now, so I'll just pass.
Yeah, so this is something a little wild to see is there have only been 10 cards drawn on Dario's side and only 11 cards drawn on Darren's side. Certainly a stark contrast to most games that you see where people are down to like 10 cards already by now.
Yeah. That stupid battlefield.
Yeah, so the battlefield here will allow Dario to buy one of these 3 characters if he chooses. So that's the Spirit card.
Yeah, he'd almost definitely take the Spirit Cooler, I think.
Yeah, there isn't a whole ton of sauce in there. There is that other Hero of the 3 Trees, which is kind of impactful.
Yeah, I think what I've got to do here, basically, I think I have to go political. Just to... I'm more likely to win the political at this point, I think, the military. He can bring back Taturis and Akodo Reserve Companies if I go military, and he can Forebears Echoes, so... Yeah, just do this with everyone, because I want to win right now. And cover that guy or that guy.
So I think the question here of coverting is, do you think that you lose by honor here, or do you think that you will...
I think I'm just going to
playing
covert the biggest political, to be honest. Like the idea is I need to win here, so just coverting his big stats. I don't think his game one is gonna matter in this conflict. So I really wish I had my Cooney Labs right now because I'd be in much better spot.
Yeah, I think any amount of Cooney Labs right now, I think would probably have sealed the game.
I can still get them. Like I can Guardian and hope to find rebuilds. Sorry, Yasuki and hope to find rebuilds.
Alright, so Dario does have the other Spirit Caller in play now. That actually offers the most political that he can get, other than getting Taturi, which is the same amount of political actually. So
Taturi plus court games would be more, but that's about it. Yep. There's the Taturi. So let's do the rebuild now, which also helps me not die straight away.
yes, that is correct. You won't die immediately.
Yikes.
And so now you're in a situation where you've got quite a bit of political stat here.
Yep. And he can still gain another 4, 5, 6, 4?
6.
He did Guardians plus 6 right now.
Yep. So that's probably game. In fact, that is game. Is that game? How much more can I gain? So essentially, you are 24.
24, I think.
If
you haven't used the second
include the
Yasuki either yet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 24. Okay. Yep. I'll just let him break now.
Yeah.
So the turn 1 double break put him so far ahead, I think, at that point.
Yeah, even though resource wise he was pretty far behind, I think. Again, showing one of the strengths of the Kravitz deck is that it can sort of generate resources despite the fact that it's being denied through honor or card draw, whatever the case is.
Yeah, it's why the Crab deck is very strong. It's also one of the easiest decks to make mistakes with because there's so many decision points that could go horrendously wrong for the deck.
Right, like Darren using Those Who Serve when Season of the War is shown.
Yeah, that's that. I don't even think that's a Kravitz specific style mistake. That's just a Darren didn't have his head turned on yet.
So, a question for you, Dario, and we can run another one real quick if you guys have time, just to see if we can see a different side of the matchup. Overall, I do feel like the Crab deck is quite powerful and it can be difficult to deal with, but I know that you said that you've had pretty good success against it so far in the past. So what are the keys for the honor deck when playing against Kravitz?
Well, I think you've got to be able to defend well against it earlier, because obviously the game is only going to go on 3 or 4 turns. Then you've got to be able to defend early. So being able to attack my stronghold turn 2 and activate it that early on meant that it was a lot easier for him to attack the next turn. So yeah, I did think when you were considering not going for it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, no, I forgot that province just dumps a guy into play in the conflict. So for some reason in my head, I thought that would be on your row. I don't know why I thought that would be on your row and something else would be on your stronghold. That was pretty stupid. So I'd like to thank Dan for reminding me that could probably be your stronghold.
I may or may not have done that on purpose, because I didn't want you to just like die to
It's worth
too many
pointing
mistakes.
out as well. This province doesn't actually drop someone into play at the conflict. They drop someone into play.
Yes, they can go
They
anywhere.
don't.
So
They can be at home and be used to attack back.
Can they?
Yeah,
yes.
it just says put them into play.
Well, okay. So, oh right, because it's before defenders are declared. That's why. Okay,
Correct.
cool. I was about to say, otherwise I was going to complain that they can't go in the conflict, which is true. They get put into play at home, and then you just declare defenders. So,
Yep.
all right, cool.
Yeah. So one thing to note about that province too is that it does suffer from the same kind of weakness that Appealing to the Fortunes suffers from, where if somebody attacks you on water, then you just sort of feel bad if they end up winning the conflict because your guy just at home gets bowed and you
Yeah, exactly.
are upset.
There's plenty of downsides to it, just as there are good sides. It's one you've got to be careful with using. Make sure you use it correctly. Ooh, that's an awful one. Does he have it again?
I really wish I had it right now because it would be an amazing turn one if I did. You got the one cost as well to make the Way of the Crab less useful.
So speaking of, I guess, of those who serve, and sort of a hot topic right now in the community is there are obviously rumblings of a potential new restricted list coming out this upcoming Friday. What are y'all's thoughts on what needs to go on the restricted list, or does anything need to go on the restricted list?
I think we're all universal in saying the Crane clan needs to go on the restricted list.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, Darren
Yeah,
doesn't even play them anyway, so he doesn't care about that.
I think you need to hit Crane really hard because they're tearing up the tournament scene. And
Yeah, they made top 4 in Ireland. They're a menace.
And you probably want to add something impactful for Scorpion because Scorpion's pretty good. So like Yanako would be a good addition, I think.
If there's something I'd love to have seen in the last list, it would be, or this one, should I say, it would be something for an errata for Master Whisperer, because I think as it's working currently, it just seems to be a bit against of what we imagine the design. I mean, we can only assume what the design was because none of us are on design. But the idea of just being able to get yourself down to one card and then draw 3 cards essentially in a clan that can starve people on honor just seems really bad.
I
think I think something needs to be done to hurt Tower a bit, which has probably got to be Fan of Command, right? Because Spyglass on the restrict list, so I would chuck Fan of Command on, and then they can have a choice of standing in every conflict or drawing cards, but not standing for free. I would hit Scorpion, but I don't really know what I would do with them. Krabbits is probably a little over the top with City of the Rich Frog now as well. So, like, I tone them down, but I think you also need to buff Dragon, and I think you might need to buff Crane a bit.
Maybe it's time for Dragon not to have so many cards on the restricted list.
Yes, they've certainly not all been on there because of Dragon, but I think that Dragon has suffered enough of their crimes. And
we all know Void Fist went on because of those powerful Phoenix Monk decks running it.
But I saw, where was it? It was Phoenix Cote last year. I did see a Lion deck that was running Void Fist.
I mean, Keepers are a monk.
Yeah, the Keepers are a monk. I think they were splashing, Hurricane Punch and I think Ancient Masters and Void Fist.
Why not?
And some Seal of the Dragons in there too, I think. This is oddly reminiscent of a game in the past.
This does look a little familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, I want to get rid of the guy that says gain 1 honor.
Despite the fact there are currently no battlefields in play.
Yeah, but you have them in your hand.
Don't know what you're talking about. There's no evidence of me having one in my hand. Where are you getting this from?
All right, fine. You just put him into play there. That's whatever.
I don't know where you're getting this idea I've got one in my hand from. It's right there. It's in play.
Well, I actually still want to break this shit, so.
I'm trying to play out this scene in my head right now where I guess this envoy comes into to Lion territory, pulls out a katana and murders these two innocent politicians who are just hanging out there, raising their country.
Well, I don't know why the envoy is military and not political anyway. Like, you'd have thought he'd.
Well, you know, he is a crab character, so it's not like they're gonna speak to you with with words. I think the even more humorous part about that situation too is that it was prepared ambush here. So the ambush was in fact another courtier coming out to defend the line territory.
He ambushed me with no military.
I didn't say it wasn't a good prepared ambush, but still a prepared one.
It's an old man coming out with his dentures out and just gumming someone.
My guy gets bowed. I lose my City of the Rich Frogs turn 1 this game.
Yeah, so this game may be looking a little bit like the tables of turn. Oh nope, the Elegant Tessin has come out. This is a lovely card. I actually like this card a lot.
It's a fantastic card.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's too good or not. Like, I think it's probably fine.
I'm not
but
sure
it does
what
do
you
a
can
lot
do
of
about
work.
it. I mean, the fact it's restricted is
it's a
brilliant.
1-cost unbow, which is what all the other unbows cost, unless you're Lion. So.
Or crab.
Or crab.
So the question here basically is if I assume I'm probably going to lose a conflict he attacks me back with, do I go Earth because I want cards, or do I go Air to stop him getting a free airing turn 1?
Well,
I think.
I mean, there is a third option.
No.
There is
That one
definitely a
doesn't
third option.
If I'd used Kaiden Hida in my Dynasty phase, then I might have a Keeper Initiate or something, which would definitely let me do Air. But
So, Darren, do you want to tell the audience why you're not using your stronghold?
this turn, because I wanted Passing Fate. I knew I was buying the Shrewd Yasuki, and I knew I was buying the Envoy. So last game, I stopped using it because I had almost no cards left in my Dynasty very quickly. Now City of the Rich Frog is gone, it might be less of a concern. I think we're going Earth. And since you have more cards than me, I'm not that fussed about Motsu, so let's go there instead.
Chat right now having a little discussion about the merits of Elegant Tessin. I do think that the card itself is like right on the cusp of being, it's like good, maybe great, without being too good. And that's the kind of the card I like to see, the card I like to play with.
I mean, Tyler was smart enough to remember to give it restricted.
Yeah, if it didn't have the restricted keyword, which is often what we say about a lot of attachments at the moment lacking restricted, then it would have been a lot more of a problem card, I think.
All right, so already another little double break turn here for Darren.
Oh, that's a good hit.
It's quite strong.
Yeah, it's like basically I have to craft my turn 1 to push 2. Like, I think if this deck goes too slow, if in the first 2 turns I haven't broken 3 provinces, I'm just going to lose the game. I'm not in a great situation here anyway. Like, he's getting the airing and Honored Lions Pride Brawler's probably dying, so it's 18 Honor at the end of turn 1 as well. And again, I have to worry about my honor. Like, I'm on 9. If I keep the labs, I'm down to 8.
Yeah, so Favor's pushed here. Not actually able to go ahead and break, but again, this is a deck that doesn't need to break in order to make its win condition work.
Yeah, it's a lot better designed to just win conflicts rather than breaks.
Yeah, Kuni Wasteland's actually a pretty good thing for him to hit. Like, there are some abilities he's going to want to use, so it's not always perfect. Like, it's Kami Unleashed and his 3 trees things, but it's good for like a Prodigy or something to farm for him. So. Do I want to keep the Guardian? Yeah. I can play Those Who Serve this time.
You can indeed.
I'm hoping to get something good out of Kaiden Hida, because it's not really a particularly good Those Who Serve, but
It's not the best, but discounts are discounts.
Yeah, I mean, this guy for free is still nice. So,
Quite.
As I would say, hit free holdings, which is always good.
Let's see. And yeah, you pitched the keeper too, so pretty solid Kaiden Hida there.
I really hate defending against this stronghold.
Thank you for the follow, Horace389. I'm not sure who you are exactly, but I appreciate you regardless.
He's enjoying his quarantine L5R content.
There has been quite a lot lately, especially coming out of I guess one of your folk, Mr. Finbar Steelfur.
Oh yeah, he's London guy. He's doing a lot at the moment. He's also running online event next Saturday. He's posted all the details in the different Facebook groups, so might as well shout out for him.
Yes.
Go check those out. And the last one was run pretty well. This one has playmats and province backers and stuff as prizes, and he's going to run 2 simultaneous tournaments, like one on EU time, one on US time. So
yes, I'm actually the person who's going to be doing the TOing for the NA one. So I thought it was a really good idea to do this. So I wanted to help him out. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and check out the L5R Facebook page. On the Discord, it's been shared to multiple channels. If you want to just play in a friendly tournament, this is a pretty casual type event, but you can make it as competitive as you want it to. There are prizes available, and they look very nice. So definitely take a look into it, and it'll be this upcoming weekend. Sort of how the format we're gonna do, I think, is gonna be the NA and EU day ones are going to take place separately, and then on Sunday we're going to do an NA versus EU top cut.
It's going to be very interesting to see what comes up from there. It's always, I mean, it's great for Finbar to continue running these things because it's while we're all locked away, we all kind of need something, and we all like playing tournaments. I mean, there would have been an event this weekend in London, which obviously is being cancelled because well, going to London seems a bit risky at this point. You never know what you're going to come back with.
Yes, that's true. And actually, over in America too, we were supposed to have a Kote. The Adepticon Kote was happening this weekend as well, but it was also canceled due to health concerns and government requirements.
Which is understandable. I mean, it's not a normal world we're in right now.
I forgot about Dario's stronghold.
You mean the thing you were talking about
yeah.
just before I attack?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, so Codenai Coma is actually the entire reason I play Lion now. I think it's the most tactical stronghold in the game.
Yes, it's quite fun. I've definitely enjoyed playing with it so far. Obviously at Worlds it was a hoot to play that mid range deck, and now with the honor deck starting at 13 honor is a pretty huge deal. So
yeah, it's a very difficult deck to defend against, as Darren very elegantly.
So if your brain is not functioning, sometimes you may in fact get bad. But I mean, even in other situations though, it does create situations where you are, it makes defending difficult because you don't want to lose the conflict, but at the same time you don't want to get your big guy bowed, and so if you don't have a way to restand yourself, you can't really commit all in, and then it sort of wastes conflicts for you.
Yeah, so you've got to be careful on how you defend it, and obviously in a situation like this, you don't generally want to give honor decks free rings, especially if they're fire or air, because gaining honor is generally how an honor deck's going to win the game. So,
oh goodness. Speaking of honor, we're at a situation now where this is an air ring conflict, but it was also at Before the Throne, and just breaking it raw would have put you at 22 honor. Meanwhile, you have this honor blade on the Hero of Three Trees, who is going to get honor at the conflict because of the perfect cut. But the honor blade will give you +1 honor, and that puts you at 21. So definitely threatening a lot heavier than you were last game.
Yeah, I'm in a bit more trouble here. It's gonna be the turn where I said if I stall, I think I struggle if I stall on a turn, and that's definitely what just happened.
I mean, it's a situation where I've managed to. He can't get to my stronghold this turn, no matter what he does. So it's a good situation to be in as an honor player, because next turn, no matter what, he's either got to break a province or go straight in on the what we know is going to be the stronghold province.
The final one's going to be shameful display on your rogue, right? The stronghold one's an Earth province, isn't it?
Correct.
Yes, I'm not gonna spoiler it, but there is the province that generally 95% of people run. That is their void province.
Yeah. So
it's clearly going to be the everyone defends with both their melee and their political, right? That void roll only one.
What I'm mainly concerned about here, basically, is do I let you come take a province, or do I use my witch hunter to try and take one in return? And I think it's going to come down to what ring you're going to choose. So I have to choose to use my witch hunter before I know that.
I think that's reasonable.
You're on a military. He's on a military conflict, and he's got a prodigy there. He wasn't running Banzai before. There's nothing. There's a Lions Pride Brawler in his discard. I guess he could bring back, so that does matter.
Yes, though. One thing that you do need to remember, though, is that the Lions Pride Brawler will not be able to bow the Witch Hunter without further boosting.
Yeah, that's because I've got a political next. It's tempting to do nothing and then stand like the Yasuki and swing back. But if he's not stupid, he does the water ring, stands as a Hero of Three Trees, and then it's actually quite hard for me to break anything anyway. So Or he can do that as well for the favor. That does let me do a sort of farmy political conflict, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I think you are of two situations here where now, favor I don't think is terribly important in this matchup. So water ring seems less than ideal, but you do have the earth ring if you want to deny a card and draw a card for yourself, or the void ring to go ahead and get rid of one of these bodies.
The void ring to get rid of hero 3 trees is really useful because he's repping 2 honor on the guy rather than the 1 when he dies. I've already got more cards than him, and like my board is generally better anyway, so I think like cards in hand don't matter that much in this matchup. I need the board presence to be winning. If he has an ornate fan to stick on my witch hunter, I'll be quite sad. Yeah, so he's gonna gain an honor end of turn with that hero 3 cheese leave in play, but I can't.
or that.
Not.
or call to war.
Definitely can't give him an honor for that one. So.
I mean, you definitely can. It's an option on the card.
No.
No, it's clearly written on the card. You can give me an honor.
I hate that card so much.
I guess fair.
Yeah, so I've done basically nothing this turn. And against that honor deck, if I do basically nothing in a turn, then I'm probably dead. Because I now also have to get through either Shameful or Before the Throne. And both are horrible to attack. I can't go break Before the Throne with the honor he's on, so I'm going to have to go break Shameful, which is not a pleasant one to attack into.
Yeah, Shameful's certainly not what you want to be hidden here, but yeah, so pretty sizable board here for Dario, and he does have two forms of static honor gain on the board right now, or 3 I guess if you count the honor blade. So the honor blade, the hero 3 trees, and the Hall of Victory is all available to give him that extra boost he may need. But Darren is first player, so
yeah. So Darren's got the obvious ring he has to do at this point. So it cost me a point of honor there.
Buying guys who don't have glory is probably pretty good right now. Or I could just buy both the guys with no fate, but I think I'm going to need an extra turn to win this game.
Everyone fear that bid 5 meta.
Bid 5 meta is dead. Ugh.
tactical ingenuity is quite strong here.
Yeah, and he's got more cards in hand than me, so basically whatever I do between Motso and Kyuden Akoma and I'm not going to get to do what I want to do this turn properly.
Which is the elements of control that Lion have now gained, which, I mean, from what Lion used to be a year ago, it's good to see them having more options. In the last 6 months, they've gained so much to give them all the decks they have now and multiple strong decks.
I think I have to brute force this conflict. And it's got to be into shameful.
Those days where shameful is the province you've got to attack.
Yeah, I've got quite low glory, right? So it's not as one-sided as, or it's not as two. It's more one-sided. That's a big defense.
Yeah, so quite the large defense indeed.
Well, Lion are supposed to have good military, right?
And the question is, all right, there is no question.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part is that now Dario is going to be at sitting at a pretty 23 after this conflict is over. And there's the echoes.
Ugh.
The echoes actually would put him at 24 if he chose to use it in this situation.
That wasn't great. I'll be honest. I wish I had a holding in my dynasty in my discard pile.
I'm sure you've got a holding in your dynasty.
This is a very stark contrast for sure from last game where you had every single one of your holdings in your discard, and this game where you have 0.
Thankfully for him, the Cooney Wasteland is protecting his lab from the Centaur that's just come to visit.
Yeah. Take that. Mm.
Oh, you can win the game for me if you want.
I could do that, or I could have to do what I actually have to do anyway and just defend with absolutely everything.
There is a line of play here for Dario. Let's see if he.
There's a good couple of lines of play for him, to be fair. Jesus. Give me something good. That wasn't it. So I'm winning right now, aren't I?
Yes.
I forgot to use Unyielding Sensei this turn, right?
No, I'm pretty sure you've used it. Let me just go.
Yeah,
back.
I have, because I just tried to click him.
That's,
Just
I
in
suppose
case.
that's an easy way to answer it, I suppose.
Uh-oh. The Kami
That's
is
a
here.
problem. That's a problem.
Nice. It was 100% necessary.
I've got one in the deck. Last game it just got stuck in hand because I got too low on honor. But all right. So Dario still gains an honor at the end of this turn,
Yes, and so you have
unless I do an unopposed conflict, basically, which is obviously my next plan. So we'll use this guy. Ready him, sacrificing that guy. So I can't use fire. See, I have a big issue with the Moedasu in these honor decks because you can Ring of Air lets you drain 1 honor a turn, and then you can't ring a fire to do like an extra 1 honor a turn, and it's way easier for them to gain more than 1 honor a turn.
Yeah, everyone views Omidasu as Scorpion meta, and that really needs to stop happening because he's not Scorpion. He is Scorpion meta in the sense of Scorpion's entire deck becomes blank while he's in play, but at the same time he does so much in so many other games, and this is another example of it. Because obviously, if he had
So-
fire at this point, he'd be able to fire down Zentara at the same time, so it cost me 2 points of honor essentially.
So I've stopped you winning here, right, with the unopposed.
That is correct.
And you've got no cards in hand, but that's fine. My bigger problem is I'm player
I was
2
very
now.
surprised that you went with Earth rather than Void to get Omidasu off the board.
I wanted the Fate
Fair enough.
and the card. Getting a Moedasu off the board would be fine, but it's not the. He's not really the biggest issue right now.
The bigger issue is this Akuma Prodigy is going to flip over the next turn.
Well, there's only one left in the deck, so if that happens, it's, well, bad luck. I don't know. Why don't you play Way of the Crab now? That seems like a good idea.
It's in my discard, mate. Or I
Yeah.
totally would just give you the win that way.
All right, moment of truth here.
Is this?
Oh, what is this?
Hey, you know those holdings you were asking for?
No.
No,
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
I guess I've got a Heater Guardian, right? So I just flip +6/+6 effectively.
Yes, but I think at this
There's
point
no
you need
season.
to. You're gonna have to flip a student of anatomies.
Yeah, I think without student, you'll just lose at this point.
Possibly. I have some play lines here.
Curious. Let's see what happens here.
Ugh. Well, I run 3 student of anatomies, and I have seen none in 25 cards.
Trying to think if there were any little dynasty tricks you could do with sacrificing people with the funeral pyre.
I mean, I know what he should do at this point.
Bid 1.
I know if he should bid 2, that'd be much more interesting. He's essentially got one play you can do, I think, at this point, but I might just be not seeing it.
Yeah, just the one. Just the one chronicler, Dan, and the discard. So.
But that's the only point of honor he needs.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Let's use one of these vampires now.
Attacking into the shameful just to rub some salt in the wound.
You can use it if you want.
It's just rude.
I mean, I'm giving him the option.
No heroes in the discard right now. It got spirit called last turn.
Correct.
Interesting choice. Surprised you didn't go for the put a guy into game 1 honor.
I think at this point, Darren's playing with his food a little bit.
I think he might get a bit overly cocky.
And the last card was perfect cut.
Well, none of those are amazing. I guess I'll take the fair and balanced one.
So Dario here opting to go the route of bowing out the entire board instead of winning the game. And 2 restands in hand. Pretty solid still. He disguised out.
Oh. Oh no, Centaur's at home, that's fine. Should have put him in the conflict, because then you can steal Funeral Pyre and sacrifice your honored guy.
That would have been a cheeky way to win as well.
Yeah, it would have been. I'll be honest, I completely forgot.
So Dan right now in chat trying to math out all the different ways you can win. Dan, he can just buy the Chronicler if Darren attacks his stronghold. So, or he can bring it back rather, and that would also be enough at that point.
Yeah, I'm just generally playing awful. That's all it is.
Get rid of that battleground ship.
Uh-oh. Alright, so 5 cards for Darren. But I think it's unfortunate that Iron Mine only works on characters you control. Alright.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
Double Tattooed Wanderer here. And so we get to evade both of these. But it's all for naught.
Well, he doesn't have the battlefield in play,
Yeah,
so
there's no
Oh,
battlefield.
you're
in play.
right.
So because I let go of the battlefield, so he can't
This is
just
correct.
gain 1 honor. Yeah.
So maybe Dario played with his food too much there. He's died.
How's Centauro defending? He's coverted.
He's not there.
Are you sure? Because he's not purpled.
Okay, I definitely clicked him. I think I've had this bug before actually, where if you covert multiple guys, it doesn't always covert multiple guys.
Okay, well I won't
That's not
defend
supposed to be
him.
there.
He's definitely coverted. I'm not stupid, right? I don't know. I'm pretty stupid, but I definitely clicked to covert him.
Yeah. 18. It was literally a case of forgetting I can just Zentara to nick the mines.
Well, actually, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if you do that, you just won the.
I'd entirely forgotten.
Well, if you did that, I would have had to rebuild the iron mines to stop you paying the cost. But I'm not sure if I prevent the cost being paid.
It's you control. It's you control.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I
think there's some weird thing. Like if the cost is prevented, I don't know if the ability counts as actually having been used.
No, it wouldn't. So you would in that situation you would have had to rebuild the iron mine on top of the funeral pyre, so that he would steal the funeral pyre or the iron mine instead of the funeral pyre.
Yeah.
So actually, I guess you did have the way out of it. So
yeah, I'll just pass.
I want to give my guy +8/+8.
Yep. It's literally forgetting Zentari because I was in Wastelands for some reason.
Yeah. Like you said, I would have rebuilded the funeral pyre away. You'd have gotten iron mines, but it forces me to do it that way, I guess, which is.
Yeah, I guess you had to let go for a while, so it would have saved you from the chronicler there too.
Yeah, I actually when he didn't bring the guy into the previous conflict, you know where I said, "Oh, you brought Lions Pride Brawler instead." I'd clicked let go because I thought he was bringing that guy back, and then cancelled it. And I don't know if Dario had spotted that I'd clicked let go.
We hadn't seen I had expected a let go, which is why I didn't bring the chronicler back.
Yeah, fair.
Because it was a choice you'd have to save it for the conflict other. But yeah, you drew into 2 coverts, which helps as well.
I mean, killing you on 24 honor is as close as it's going to be.
Quite heartbreaking, actually. Yeah, that was a definitely a spin the wheel moment there where he needed a hero 3 trees to come out right there.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd get a mill of 3 trees. I did mill a battlefield, which doesn't help.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, Crab is one of the harder matchups, it's because it can get going. That turn 2 stall out was fine, but I was already down on resource at that point anyway. If I had a bit of luck and flip the 3rd prodigy, it would have been irrelevant. But
yeah, or actually,
yeah.
This is a situation where Common Cause would have been pretty useful.
Oh yeah, Common Cause would have won it as well. Yeah.
I didn't see my Common Causes all game.
Me neither.
I think so. I played this over sort of something funky because I thought it wouldn't really show off a Kotai winning deck very well if I then just brought some weird jank, and like if I won with jank it's sort of meaningless, and if I lose with jank it's still meaningless. So I wanted to bring something like meta.
Oh, okay.
So you had some real games. Basically.
We actually we found the route for Dario to win there. He could have gone. He could have gone air with his first conflict, and then used the Spirit Caller to Spirit Call the Kami in, and then win the game that way. Can
that Spirit Call Kami? Oh wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, that would have
been. As I said, there's 2 ways. There's other ways I could have done it, and I was a bit stupid with how I did it.
Yeah, so I think if you're playing that right, you win.
Yeah.
You win that turn.
I play so much worse on Jigoku.
It is a little bit different playing, on an interface, but I think it does also help to, in situations like these where you're actually able to talk to your opponent and, pretend like it's a real game as much as possible. The only thing we really need is some webcams so you can see Darren's face in this place.
I don't know. One of the best things about isolation is I can't see Darren for all these months.
That's probably fair.
That's mean.
Are you disagreeing?
I have a beautiful face.
I'm not saying anything.
Right?
Chat, press 1 and press 1 if you think Darren has a beautiful face. But yeah, so I guess that's about it for now. I guess there obviously this deck is pretty strong and pretty powerful, and like you said before, it's fun to play, right? Because of how many lines of play there are and how much interaction there is. Do you foresee
gaining resources is super fun.
Do you foresee yourself playing this deck in the future? I guess longer term than this. Should it remain relatively the same?
If nothing changes, then like I'm comfortable playing the deck. I think, as you've seen, even where I've made mistakes, like I still know what the lines of play are with this deck, and I think if it's not the best deck in the meta, I think it's one of the best. And unlike other crabs, I seem to have really, really strong results playing versus Scorpion with crab, so that's like normally the worst matchup. But I think without any serious tournaments coming up, I would just be playing sort of fun, weird builds otherwise. If there was a tournament tomorrow that I was going to, this is absolutely what I would bring.
So does that mean, Darren, that in the next coming months we might see you actually play Crane?
Maybe. I really want Sevenfold Palace. I'll play Crane when Sevenfold Palace comes out, when I like playing online and stuff, because that is a cool card, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, Crane is definitely getting some pretty interesting cards, especially the ones that were just shown in this previous pack preview. But I guess for you, Dario, how do you feel about this deck? What changes would you make going forward? I mean, I know this is just sort of like testing Pack 2 cards for one of the first times, and do you feel like they're effective? Do you feel like you need more stuff, or what do you feel like you need to take this deck to the next level?
I think we need some more good battlefields before the battlefield theme can really gain anything, because obviously one more battlefield up when that would have been a different game, and we saw Chronicler just jump out and gain an honor for basically nothing during that game. Other than that, I mean, the deck runs fine. It's as it was before. I don't feel like it's one of the top decks, because honor still can hit a problem, and there are bad matchups for it out there. It's just it existing at the moment is quite a good thing for decks like Scorpion that have been dominant at points because they can't do their usual strategy. The usual Phoenix Splash Scorpion can't drain the Dishonor out of this deck quickly enough, and it can, as any line deck can, it can just break militarily. So going forward, if it gets a few more good battlefields, as nice as Prepared Ambush is, it's not an amazing card. So it would be nice to see perhaps another good battlefield either in the Dynasty or another holding would be nice. If you get another battlefield holding, that'd be lovely.
Oh yeah, that would be quite nice. So
I,
fingers crossed on that one.
If that deck gets much more support, then it's just going to be an uninteractive mess to play against.
Honor isn't an interactive deck. I mean, we've spent 3 years with Scorpion complaining about how Scorpion were when it comes to Dishonor, and we haven't really talked about Honor because there wasn't anything to talk about with Honor. So in a way, it's kind of nice to be able to talk about the third win condition again. So, but at the same time, there are now 3 different characters that just say gain 1 Honor. So that is critical mass, I think.
Yeah, and that's sort of the issue with Honor. I think a deck like this is certainly better, at least more enjoyable to play against than like for example there was an Honor deck with like the Festivals of Fortune or whatever that sort of just looked to Honor out all on one turn kind of thing, and that to me is sort of very counterintuitive to how the game should be played.
That deck is the reason there's a problem. Yeah, that deck is the reason there's a problem with those who serve. It's that being able to buy out 8 to 14 characters. I think we worked out you can buy up to 19 characters in a turn with it. That's even Scorpion, unless they can cancel the events, can't do anything about that.
Right. So yeah, I mean, but we'll see what happens in the future. I think that if we are going to continue to support Honor as a win condition, then I think to Darren's point also we need to have some more things that actually interact with Honor. So hopefully we get some more of that going forward.
I think if Honor gets a lot stronger, then Ardent Omidatsu probably is the card that needs to get looked at.
Perhaps.
I think that's the card that shuts down. You only have like 2 real counterplays to Honor, and he shuts down 50% of your counterplays. So
that is true. Darren, you didn't see your prayers to Ebisu either.
I bottomed it with my Shrewd Yusuke in game 1 and didn't see it. Yeah. If I'd seen it in game 2, I'd have kept hold of it. Game 1, I felt a lot more comfortable with where the Honor was at. So.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Yeah. Well, any last things that you guys want to say to the stream before we close out for today?
I noticed Jade Throne just posted a new podcast, but you weren't on it. Have you been fired?
I have not been fired. No, I have not been laid off as a result of COVID from Jade Throne. But
I thought it might be the competing content.
Oh no, not quite. No, there's no conflict of interest here. Don't you worry.
All right.
But thank you for the shout out to the Jade Throne.
Yep.
I'm just a lovely guy. Everyone should listen to L5R as well. Not that we've recorded in like a year, but go back and listen to the old episodes instead of listening to Jade Throne.
You can now listen to 2 people who don't play the game rather than just one.
Exactly.
All right. Anything for you, Dario?
Thanks for hosting us, by the way, Dan.
Yeah, just thanks for hosting. I'm sorry the games perhaps weren't the most exciting because Bid 1 is never that interesting.
Oh no, I mean, look, I mean, like this whole series is not supposed to be. It's not necessarily supposed to be about excitement, but it's more just about showcasing different decks, different players, and just having some additional content where you sit down and work through a game, because I feel like that was something that was really missing beforehand.
Yeah, it makes sense, and I hope people can try out different things as well, because rather than the bog standard Crane Splash for Honor, other clans have got very useful splashes that can make for very interesting decks.
Indeed.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and close up the stream there. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in so far.
Yep.
We will be back next week with some other special guests to be named, but stay tuned in the coming week for that announcement.
Stay safe, everyone.
And yes, public service announcement, please, guys, stay safe. Make sure that you're washing your hands and taking all the precautions necessary to keep yourself safe from infection. And for those of you who are dealing with it, we wish you the best, and we know that it's not pleasant to deal with, and I know that it's quite, a very, devastating disease. And thank you to all the people out there who are helping us and working in the medical field or other behind-the-scenes fields to keep everything running in this trying time. All right.
And Nerve Crane.
Yes, Nerve Crane for sure. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll go ahead and close the stream now.
Thank you.